Okay, thank you so much. That is already updated, as Ronnie told you. I will just log into Zoom, and could someone please confirm that Gautier will be joining you as well? Okay, well, we'll wait. Oh. Hello, Gautier, can you hear us?
I don't know if this fixed. Can you hear me well? Yes. Okay, finally, perfectly. Sorry.
Perfect. Thank you, Gautier. Can you then present your report or an update to the GA, please?
Yeah, of course. Should I share my screen directly?
Yes, you can do that for sure.
Okay. 1 minute. Okay, normally you can see the report. Yes. Perfectly. So, hello everyone. I'm gonna try to summarize a bit my report. Don't hesitate to ask any question about this one or about the whole work we could do with the team. All the posts and the departments, they work. So first of all, for the secretary, I told that since the first postponement, the major part of her work was about the cancellation process and the refunding process. It took a long time and it was a bit difficult because we had to settle all the informations and all the process, of course, with the EPSA team and make sure everyone has all the possibilities for them or to subscribe again for the next event or just get a full refund. And after that, we had a second wave of registration, which was for the last edition of the event. And after, the secretary had a lot of work for all the organization during the event, like the plannings and everything for the helping team and the reception committee. For the treasurer, as the secretary, we had to work a lot about the refunding process. We faced some issues regarding some countries. We were very sorry about those situations because we were not responsible of that, but some countries has taxes more than other countries if they are SEPA area, excuse me. So we tried to do our best on that point, and after we had a huge issue which was to make sure that everyone has the information regarding the deadlines of the refunding process and everything. It was quite difficult because even if we share all the informations on the emails and the chats, we still encountered some difficulties. And after the event, now we still have some work regarding the finances to make sure we paid every service provider and to complete the, I don't have the word in English, I'm sorry, but to finish all the process regarding the finances. For the registrations, I'm gonna go quicker on that point, but we had a lot of work, of course, previously the event, and with Justin, we tried to do our best on that point. Most of the issues were regarding attendees or people which subscribed and wanted to attend the event, which were not really kind or polite, but this was not the majority. So we could find a solution for everyone. For the logistics officer, we worked a lot about keeping our contracts with the service providers for the accommodation, the food, or the gala place, for example. The main issue was the educational place for the educational venue. Thankfully, we found a solution with EPSA, our partner, which has been able to share their locals with us. For the partnerships, we had a lot of work regarding the preparation because some of the partners didn't want to keep going with us after 2 postponements, which is something we can understand totally. So we had to find new solutions, new services to propose to them. I think we succeeded proposing a new solution, new services during the event. And most of all, we organized online webinar with Yogo and Sanofi, for example, which was quite appreciated, I hope. After that, for the educational officers, we kept the global program that was firstly mint and worked with the EPSA team, and we just had some modifications to do with the actuality, like to fit globally with the sanitary situation, to have something really relevant for the attendees. For the public relations officer, we tried to diversify our communication and our voices to have in in the social networks something that is really interesting and useful for the future participants. And to finish, we had of course the alumni week that has been organized, and our alumni officer kept the global program he organized for the first edition, and it was quite easy to organize. And we had the advisory board that was there with Sid, Maeva, and Robin, which were really useful and helpful for the team, because it's been organized since 2018, if I'm right, and it's still important and useful to have people that know the event since the beginning and that are here to help you and give advices. I forgot my part. But to finish with my part and always part, we split the work with VIII. I was more meant to work with EPSA and to collaborate with you and everyone in the EPSA network, and being responsible of the stakeholders coming to the event. And VIII was more in the managing part of the team and in the logistics, because he was in the organizations since the beginning. So we kept to work, and new like 2 mandates, and it's been a real pleasure to work with EPSA team in the both mandates. So that's it for that point. And to finish, with the EPSA team, the communication was really good. I thank VIII and Cathy for their collaboration, but all the EPSA team have been really friendly. I wrote some points regarding the LS because we face, of course, some difficulties. It was not the majority, but I think it's important to talk about that and being sure that it's not coming again for the next reception committees, because we are all students and it's important to keep polite and remain polite with all the students. So I think it's important to keep it in mind, but I don't have more comments on that. But if you have any question on that point or on the report, I remain available.
Thank you, Gauthier. I will ask if anyone has any questions for Gauthier. Théo? Annette?
Théo and France. On behalf of ANEP, we would like to emphasize once again the work done by Gauthier and his team for the organization of the Congress and thank them for their work.
Thank you, Annette. I have a new point from Cathy in the back.
Cathy, yes. Cathy, events coordinator. On behalf of the EPSA team, I would also really like to thank you for. Can you hear me, by the way, since I'm so far? Yes? Okay, great. I would like to thank you on behalf of the EPSA team and honestly for all the work you have done. It was already discussed during this JA. I got the question, when did you see a rise in people interested in organizing events? And I had a quite clear answer after VIII. And I only have you to thank for that. We got an amazing congress, and it has sparked interest in organizing congresses or events in general. And EPSA is really grateful for our work, and we hope that in the future generations, events will be upcoming, and you were the first step in making sure that this happens. So thanks a lot.
Thank you, Cathy. Gauthier also thanks you in the chat. I have a new point from ASEP Switzerland.
Valentine Asset Switzerland. First of all, I want to congratulate you and your team on your work. And I wanted to ask you about, in your report in the chapter 1.3 under registration officer, you wrote that the delegations did not have the right information regarding all the registration process. And I wanted to ask you if there, or if you have another system in mind how this could be improved so that this won't happen anymore.
Thank you, Gauthier. Did you hear the question?
I'm not sure I heard the question. Can you maybe repeat to be sure I understood well, please?
If you have an idea for their other system that could be implemented so that the delegations have the right information regarding the registration process. As you mentioned, this didn't work in your report.
Gauthier?
Yeah, so about that, I'm not sure I have a solution because, to be honest, we really thought about that and we tried to find not maybe the best solution, but the most efficient solution to make sure everyone has the information. And we tried to send emails and personal messages to go through EPSA team with the WhatsApp chat, if I'm right. And we tried to share the information, the deadlines and all the important things regarding the process, but we still had problems. So I don't really know where was the problem in that point, to be honest. So I'm sorry, I don't have really any solution.
Thank you, Gauthier. I have a new point from Spain.
Andre Spain. I saw in the LS report that he was upset because there were people applied. I would like to know if you have any proposal for EPSA to take measures to avoid it in the future.
Did you hear the question, Gauthier?
If I had any proposal to avoid that kind of behavior, it's that.
Yes.
Maybe being more strict with the people which is not polite. If it's an LS, it's less. It's like a normal attendee. It does not give him the right to be unpolite or aggressive. So I think that that's the first one, but we just can't like anticipate that kind of behavior because, like, for example, my point was mostly for the international night, and we had an issue regarding the shuttles because we really needed to have all the shuttles full, and 80% of 90% of the delegations were really cool with that and understood to like send 2 or 3 people from their delegations. So like the extreme majority was really nice with that, and it's just 1 or 2% that are not polite. So it's not a majority, but maybe being more strict with that kind of person.
Thank you. I have any question from Kathy?
Kathy, events coordinator. I just wanted to add on to the question about how to provide the RCs with the participants with information. There was an action point that stated that EPSA should make an infographic together with RCs to provide information about the registration process, because this is one of the things that often makes a lot of participants confused, because the LSs have to make sure that the participants, or the RC has to make sure that the participants are really presented. So then the LSs have to check whether they are represented by the association. And based on this action point, we have created a template together with the PR department. And this PR or this template can be updated with specifics about the event, but in general, it might, or we hope that it will provide participants with information about how the process looks like, so that the RCs will get less messages, and ODs also really clearly know what the registration process looks like, what they should do, and what their participants should do.
Thank you, Kathy. Are there any new points? VIII?
Anything except please. First of all, thank you very much for your report and for taking the time to explain it here, and congratulations on your work. Then I would like to ask you information. How much do you estimate to be the benefit, the financial benefit of the event? I know it's very early to have like an accurate number, but just an estimation. Thank you.
Thank you, VIII. Were you able to understand?
Yes, I hope so. Normally, regarding the benefits, I'm not sure I can tell you a precise amount, but it will be more than 1,000, normally around 3,000 and 5,000 something.
Thank you, Gauthier. Do I have any new points? Okay. If not, then I'll just read the motion. The 63rd EPSA General Assembly accepts the final reception committee report of the chairperson of the 43rd Annual Congress. I open the floor for discussion on the motion. Joseph?
Yes, Mr. President, I close the floor for discussion.
Thank you. Then we'll proceed to voting on the motion as it reads. The 63rd EPSA General Assembly accepts the final reception committee report of the chairperson of the 43rd Annual Congress. I ask if anyone's against, if there are any abstentions, and who votes for? I have 22 votes for, none against, and no abstentions, so the motion was carried unanimously, and your final reception committee report was approved. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much. I can leave you the floor. I will maybe stop sharing if it's okay for you.
Yes.
Thanks a lot. Sorry for not being there, and thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll leave the Zoom now. Alright. And then we'll move on to the next point on the agenda, which is the update on the 18th EPSA Autumn Assembly. And I'll ask Navina to come here, please.
Can you? Okay. Okay, so Movina, chairperson of AA22. I will briefly update you on what we've been working on since the previous team meeting / GA, because it's pretty much the same thing, you will see. So about the accommodation, the venue remains the same as we stated in also the previous team meeting that you might have read. We had some issues with the deposits. The deposits were not in time. We didn't pay for the hotel in time. We had some technical issues, but at the same time, the hotel showed some understanding because there were general issues we had in Greece at the time. So we managed to have a meeting with them to discuss about the deposits and about how we're going to proceed from now on. And we reached an understanding, and we made an agreement on this. So we will try to keep this for now. And the venue remains the same, the dining hotel that we had at the beginning as well. So about the educational program, it is also the same venue. It is still in the Titania Hotel. About the actual educational program, we've been discussing a lot with the Edu department. We have the preliminary plan. We also have topics for the symposium suggested by Andrea, and also for the workshops as well, and potential speakers. EPSA already contacted some speakers. We also have some of them confirmed, and we also sent our suggestions as the RC, and most of them were looked by Andrea as well, and she gave us the green light to go and invite speakers of our own as well. So this is going on very well, and it's an ongoing progress, of course. Yes, so thank you. So about the social program, so there are not many updates on this because we already had contacted a lot of places. We already had a lot of offers from like the previous GA in Lyon. So because it's super early to book for now, we have not confirmed any of them. We're just visiting them and also receiving more offers from places. We also found some places that are free of charge, which is very good. They belong to the municipality of Athens. The congress will happen in this municipality, so they are free for us to use if we want. But we're checking the capabilities and the capacities of its venue for now. Really important for us is if we can actually do this, during the opening ceremony we want to have actual food for the participants, not only finger food, but this is not something that we can promise as of now. It's still under investigation and it will depend on the budget, of course, at the end. So yeah, that's it also for the social events. The alumni weekend is the same. The venue the alumni will be staying is the Titania Hotel as well, so this is already booked. We are currently receiving offers for the alumni dinner, and we are visiting these restaurants to see how they look, where they are, how far away from the venue they are. But the only thing that is changing is that during the previous time we considered having the alumni meeting at the same venue, like at the Titania Hotel, but now we have to accommodate the educational program, one more workshop per session, so it's not possible to happen there. So we are investigating new places that are close to the hotel, and they are charged as well for us to use for this meeting, for this 2-hour meeting. So we're contacting them to see their availability. If it's not a problem, it is very easy to find a place for this particular meeting. Thank you. For the pre-congress tour, it's been the same. For the past year, we've been contacting travel agencies because it's really difficult to organize the whole pre-congress tour for ourselves. It's not possible to happen. It will be super expensive, also due to the time. Because on October 28th is a national holiday in Greece, and 1 week after the Congress, also the marathon takes place. So it's a really expensive period of time. So it's pretty much impossible to organize the pre-Congress tour on our own. So we contacted travel agencies, and we are getting group packages, and we want to reach the target of 220 euros per person. Okay, so about the finances, we have been adjusting the booklets, the privileges, and the packages in general to make them more appealing to potential sponsors. Also based, of course, on the current demands of the market, because they are changing very fast from what we realized due to things, conditions happening all around the world. So this affects the market needs, and we want to make the booklet appealing to more sponsors even now. We are still contacting new companies. We have contacted around 250 to 300 companies so far. This is just a contact. We did not receive an answer from all of them, of course, and we have not finished with the contacts and the communications. The financial planning of many companies has also changed, because we were under the impression due to past organizations of events in our countries that the budget closed earlier for companies. But this year, their financial planning has changed as well. Like the past few years, it has changed also due to the pandemic, and they are still looking to distribute their budget. So up now, we are still receiving answers, and most of them come now and not earlier. So this was also the problem with the deposits for the hotel, that we are waiting for the biggest amount of money to be actually deposited in our bank accounts during June and July, of course, when the registrations will open. We have signed contracts with sponsors so far. Of course, they're open for any member association that wants to hear them. They're also signed in English, of course, so that EPSA can also take a look. And yes, we also have small amounts of money already deposited in our account, but they are small if we compare them to the total amount of money that we are expecting and that we need for this Congress. They are directly sent to the hotel, and this was also an agreement we made that if we receive, because the hotel is the accommodation, the venue, and the food. So it's the biggest amount of money. So the money that we take from sponsors will be directly deposited to the hotel. You can see also the detailed bank account transfers in the monthly updates that we send to EPSA, and you can also approach for any detail that you need about these transfers. We did realize something, that it's more of a comment right now, that we have the topic of omics. It's very innovative, it's very new, but it turned out it was a bit difficult to work with in regards to the sponsorships, because it's a topic and practice that most of the companies are not yet associated with. So they find it difficult to participate in a congress that the topic is not directly connected to them. However, we did want this topic as well, so we really appreciate the topic, we really like it. It's just a small comment that it turned out to be a bit difficult to work with. And finally, we have applied for a university fund as well. We are waiting for an answer, but we will have an answer for this in probably a long time, not in the next weeks. It might take a couple of months to receive an answer for this fund, for this specific fund. But it's still a help that if we get it, it's going to help a lot with the organization. Thank you. Okay, so there has been a discussion also with the EPSA team that it would be really relieving for us and really helpful if we could raise the fee maximum amount that the participants pay. It is in torso, in the event handbook, I think. And it's up to 275 euros. So we have requested that this amount be changed. And I would like to talk to you a bit about this. GPSF is a non-profit association. So we were expecting that, well, also we have an accountant as an association. And with our accountant, the past years, as we were organizing the Congress, we were under the impression that as a non-profit association, we would not have to pay the VIII tax. And we would not be taxed for the income that we receive, like the sponsorships, or what we, yes, mostly the sponsorships, or the participation fee. But it turns out, after we changed our accountant this year, it turns out that we do have to pay the VAT, and increase the VAT is 24%. So it's almost 1/4 of the income that we take. It's a lot of money, and we found out about this around the end of February or the beginning of March, so it was a big shock for us. We immediately talked with EPSA and with the EPSA team, and that's why we started discussing about this issue. It's not that it's not feasible at all for the Congress to happen if this race does not happen, but it will be a huge relief for us. It has been very shocking. It is a bit difficult to communicate with the tax office as well in Greece, so it has been like a really fluid situation. We're not sure yet how it will turn out, but this 24% is a huge decrease in our income. So we would, and also there is an example as to what I mean by that. We have 275 euros, which is the participation fee right now, and the participant cost, including only accommodation and food right now, is 360 euros. So it's already a lot more than the 275 that the participant will pay to participate in the Congress. If we decrease it by 24%, we have 209 euros left for each participant to use. It's a big difference between 209 and the 360 that we have to pay for each participant. And it's really important to mention that there was no cheaper offer in Athens, because we checked every possibility in Athens for a Congress. Of this, of course, capacity, like a lot of participants in a place where you also need the food to sleep, and the conference center. And we also checked separate places for hotels and conference centers, and this was also the best that we found so far. If we do manage to increase the fee to 300 euros, then it's going to be 228 euros per participant. It's 19 euros more. So even from the 25 euros, we're not going to get the full amount. Again, 6 euros will be taken by the tax office. So for now, for us, for 300 people, it is going to be an extra around 6,000 euros, which is a lot of money when organizing a Congress. So there is a motion about this. It will be discussed, but this is just our point of view, what happened with our Congress. So, of course, if you have any question on this, you can ask anything you want. But this is our situation right now. It would be really helpful if we could actually increase that. This is the planned budget. It hasn't changed. The planned budget is the same as it was at the beginning. So I think the next 2 slides, also this one, yeah, it's the same as it used to be. And this is our current budget. It's from the EPSA template. What we have so far from grants and sponsorships is added there, those 2,000 euros. It's those small amounts that I actually mentioned. The only thing is that in the other, it says 3,265 euros. This is supposed to be in the unforeseen. This is money that GPSF lent to the Congress at the beginning to pay for a deposit back in December. And we have an agreement with the association that by the end of the Congress we will return this amount of money, so that's why it's in there right now. Yes, also the same here. The total amount paid to the hotel so far is 5,100 euros right now from the small amounts we're receiving, and we're awaiting a lot more money to come in the next couple of months. Also in the I'm so sorry. Okay. Also in this in this slide, the 3,265 euros should also be in the unforeseen costs. It's just a mistake we made when filling out the template. And about our public relations, we have contacted our media partners. They turned out to be pretty important also to our sponsors. And we also had our official RC photo shooting. We had a lot of fun doing that. And we are also preparing for the FSRC social media takeover promotion. It's in collaboration, of course, with the PR department and Kathy as well. And we had our website created by our IT officers, but as you can see, we did not deduct money from the budget. We had an amount of money planned for the design and the launch of the site. But because our IT officers could do it on their own, we decided to let them do it, and they did a really good job. But before we launch it, we do not want to deduct this amount of money in case something goes wrong, so that we do not have any problems. We have it already planned, and it's planned to be launched by the end of May. About our next steps, finally, we will contact the speakers after the GA, and we will keep working on the educational program and also the public health campaign, of course, in collaboration with the Edu Department of EPSA. We will also keep up, of course, the fundraising. The most important part of the Congress is the money right now, because everything else is working like really, really well. And meetings, of course, with the sponsors. We have already started to organize the helping team duties. We had a call about that. We discussed a bit how we want our volunteers to work during the days of the Congress, how many we will need. We already have them planned in the budget as well, but we also discussed, like in reality, if it's possible, if it's feasible to happen with this amount of volunteers. And we have some ideas. The open call will open the latest by mid-July, and that it might be a bit late because the registration starts on July 1st. So we want our students to also be able to register, but and they should know if they want to be helping team or not before they register as participants. But the issue is that for now, helping team and the organizing committee, we pay to participate in the Congress. We pay half of the fee, because otherwise the budget is not feasible right now. We do need this money. Of course, if we get more money, the first thing that will be deducted is the volunteers fee and then the RC fee. But for now, the volunteers also need to know if they are going to pay finally at the end or not, before they actually register as helping team. That's why we put mid-July as the latest that we want the applications to open, the open call for the helping team. We will also keep visiting the venues, and we have already started contacting companies for material sponsorships like food and stuff like that for the social program, or printing costs that can be covered directly by other companies. The material sponsorships are not counted in the total sponsorship money. They're not deducted from there in the planned budget. But if we actually manage to receive a lot of material sponsorships, then the estimated money we need from sponsorships, like financial sponsorships, will also be reduced. And we have seen that there are companies interested in financing us in a material way, let's say. And the final will be the launch of the website. And that's all for our next steps. I would also like to say that the collaboration with the EPSA team has been amazing. Like, they're super supportive of everything, and that's really also motivating us. And a big thank you to all of you, and Kathy as well over there. And I really hope to see you all in Athens. And thank you a lot for the understanding also in the fee situation in general. It's really important.
We'll be taking questions now if anyone has some. First is Asek Switzerland. Oh, never mind, I have technical thing also. Okay, you win. Please register on me. Sorry, Asad, go ahead.
Okay. Valentine Asif. First of all, thank you very much for this presentation. I wish you the best of luck and force for the last steps. And so my question is in the budget. I haven't exactly seen it because those haven't been shared to me by our LS. But I wanted to ask you, like, do you have a minimum amount of students that you need to register to even out the equation? And like, if the answer is yes or no, I have like my actual question.
Okay, Malvina, chairperson of A22. Yes, we do have, those participants are, no, not those, like in the planned budget. There you are, okay. So, yeah. Okay, we have, yes, we do.
Then my actual question would be, how do the minimal amount of students needed to even out the equation differ if we have the first option of fees, so like those 275 euros versus the 300 euros? So how many students less are needed to even out the the equation?
Did you understand the question?
No. Okay, so assuming we have the fee for 275, or in another scenario, the 300. How much is the minimum of students needed to register to the events with both, and how do they differ? Because I don't see a huge difference between those 25 euros increase, but maybe like I don't know how much students there we would need less to even out the equation. Do you understand it? Yeah. Perfect.
Malvina?
Okay. Malvina, chairperson of A22. We do not plan to decrease the students that will attend the Congress.
The minimal amount to even out the equation.
Okay. Darn, please. I will give you the floor when it's needed.
Okay, so maybe I really don't understand what you mean, or maybe I need to do math. Apparently, I need to do math. But I can tell you that even we do not want to decrease the participants, but these 19 more euros per participant, they do not, they give us, it's more money for us to work with, for each participant. Like, I really don't understand that. I am super confused.
Okay. After Switzerland? No, I have one information from Carol.
Carolina VIII, just a point of information. Within EPSA, when we sign a contract between EPSA and RC, there is always a set of minimum participants they have to achieve. And for this event is 200. So the minimum that they can have of students is 200.
Yeah, but you can always finish your point. Okay. After Switzerland, the clarification.
Valentine, as a student, so with those 200 minimum students needed, it would be for the 275 euros fee.
Point of information from Carolina.
It's not about the budget. Either way, they have to fill in 200 places.
Yeah.
Regardless of the fee, the minimum amount of student that they can have is 200.
Thank you, Carolina, but I don't think this is the point of information that was needed. Clearly, the question is going back and forth, so the best way to do it was probably to contact Iris, the treasurer of the RC, so that this answer can be answered. We'll move on with the other new points. Joseph, please.
Yes, President, as it was mentioned, and as it was mentioned before during the ODIS meeting, we are planning to propose a motion to raise the fee for this particular event. At the same time, you might have noticed that we are also proposing a regulation change or raising the fees in general, as there was an investigation during this mandate of the financial feasibility of EPSA events.
Thank you, Joseph. Next, I have the EPSA UK.
So as
Sebastian, EPSA UK. So yeah, we're aware that there's going to be a motion later, but we just wanted to check that based on what you said about free venues and what happens with the sponsorships, can you just clarify if it's not possible at all that the fee stays the same or even like decreases based on what happens? Thanks.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, the last part of your question I didn't hear.
EPSA?
Sebastian, EPSA UK. So, based on your presentation about free venues and what you said about sponsorships happening or not happening, can the registration fee stay the same or even decrease? Thank you.
Thank you. Maria?
Marina, chairperson of A22. The free venues were only for the social events. Like there were some venues that could accommodate us for the social events part only. It has nothing to do with the accommodation and the conference venue. All of those are in the same venue. It's the Titania Hotel that requests a specific amount of money. We also signed a contract with them for a specific amount of money, and we need to pay this money. So the free venues is only for social events that we have been investigating. They cannot accommodate us for the educational program or the accommodation. And also, the thing with the fee is that it's not that the Congress is going to fail completely if the fee is not raised right now, but it's not possible, first of all, it's not possible to decrease it, for once for sure, but if it stays the same, it will be super difficult for us to be able to provide everything an EPSA Congress needs right now. And we're not talking about making it fancier or than needed. We're talking about basic things that might be needed that we won't be able to provide. And I cannot name like specifics, but it's money that we are going to miss, and we already do miss it. So we are waiting for money from the sponsors, but this money is always questionable. We are waiting for money, but we can never know the final amount of money we will receive. And we have to work with what more we can get, and it will be a huge relief for the fee to be after this 24% that we have to give. I hope that clarifies.
Thank you. I have a direct from Kati. And Pastor, if you could not be there in the middle, because I couldn't see Kati before. Sorry, thank you.
As the events coordinator, I just wanted to add on this that for now, like you could have seen in the budget, the RC and the helping team are still paying. During most events, we try to budget it in such a way that the helping team and RC do not have to pay because they are really working on the event and they are not able to properly enjoy like the annual venue and have the open bar because they have a lot of responsibilities. So also take this into account. They're really working and it's quite difficult for them to also find a helping team if they cannot offer something in return. Because of course people would like to help, but they would also like to see something in return because otherwise they pay a full event while they are working half of the sessions. So also take this into account with like the raising of the fee.
Thank you. Esther Lithuania with a new point.
Thank you very much. Amazing job. We would like to ask, is there any possibility that, for example, trainers that will be delivering sessions at the event could get any discount like we had in Lyon?
Thank you. Don't forget to state your name and association, and I have a point of information from BC. This is actually predicted in the regulations, the discount for trainers, the ones that are delivering trainings at the event, and it should be 25% at least. And I have a point of information.
Mr. President, I would like to ask the official delegates to stay on the topic of the discussion, which is the updates of the AA. We are not discussing the motion on raising the fee or anything else. This will come later in the agenda.
Thank you, Joseph. I have a new point from CPSA. It was dropped. KPSB.
Amy again, PSB. Well, first of all, thank you very much for your presentation. I'm very excited for the Autumn Assembly. I was wondering, you mentioned the topic of omics, which I find very cool, but that it gave some struggles with finding sponsors. How did you, in the end, like find a solution for this? Did you convince the sponsors in a different way? Did you search more specifically, or is this just money lost now?
Thank you. Sabina?
Marina, chairperson of AA. Thank you very much for the question. It's a really good one. We did search more specifically for companies that do this thing. There are not many, and most of them are not based in Greece, which is a problem. But we are expecting answers from them as well. What we did was we adjusted the amount of money and we changed a bit the levels of privileges and the amount of money that each level of sponsorship has, so that we could at least somehow tell them that, yeah, you can give a bit less, even if the Congress is not directly connected to what you do. You can give a bit less and still be connected to the Congress, because other things the Congress has to offer might as well interest you, besides like the topic itself. But it's a really specific topic. We really liked it as an RC, and that's why we're also trying to find companies more specific on this particular one, which in Greece are smaller and not that many right now. But we're still under investigating, so hopefully we'll find more.
Thank you. Does anyone else have any viewpoint? If not, thank you so much, Marina. And we have finished the points for today. Yusuf?
As a president, thank you very much for the discussion today. Okay. In that case, I will ask Marie to perform the roll call.
We have Afro Austria, Libya, Slovakia, PSA Croatia, CCPSA Czech Republic, SPC Slovakia, delegated to PSA Czech Republic, South Denmark, Anna France, EPSA Germany, GPSA Greece, Scotia Hungary, EPSA Ireland, SPC Lithuania, KPC the Netherlands, EPSA Poland, Apple Portugal, Serbia delegated to Slovenia, Spain, as Switzerland, Sweden delegated to as Switzerland, PPC United Kingdom.
Please keep quiet before you and